Hey friends, today we are going to get rid of the Vertigo grass and we are going to plant a beautiful blue Atlas cedar. Stay tuned. Welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny, and today Jerry and I are out here in this gorgeous flower bed that we've been to a couple of times already this year. This is that bed right off of our front porch with this massive Vertigo grass behind me. So it is now October. We are going to go ahead and transition this bed from the spring summer planting into our fall winter planting. Now, clearly, Vertigo grass behind me has completely lived up to its name and its just requirements, I guess, of what it does. It is clearly a massive grass. If you will remember, Vertigo grass is one of the largest purple fountain grasses out there. This is an annual from Proven Winners. So remember, annuals only last one season. Now, she is gorgeous and huge and massive, and we could absolutely leave her until probably for at least another month until a really hard freeze comes and kills it. But it is massive, and we love that it's big and it's heavy and it gives some weight to this side of the house, but it really has just gotten too big and we are ready to take it out and to put some other things in. So Jerry got the great idea. He said, Jenny, let's take out the Vertigo and put in a blue Atlas cedar. Loved that idea. So what we are going to plant today is a Dwarf Hortsmann blue Atlas cedar. It will get to be about 6 to 10 feet tall at its maturity. I think it's around like 5 feet wide, but it is not a solid evergreen tree. It's what I would call like a Dr. Seuss tree. It's kind of wispy and spindly and has a lot of neat texture to it. I also love this blue Atlas cedar, this Dwarf Hortsmann, because it is really hardy. It's like in zones, oh gosh, what was it, like 6 to 9? We'll put all the information up on the side because I probably got something wrong. So we're going to put that in the exact hole where Vertigo is. If you will remember, back there are my tea olives that I love, but you can't even see them right now because Vertigo is just so big. The blue Atlas cedar will allow us to always see it and bring us some neat texture. So what we're going to do right now is get the Vertigo out, which is going to be really interesting because we have no idea what this root system is like, and get the Hortsmann placed. Well, that wasn't that hard. As I say that, it's Jerry's the one shoveling. Look at that. All right, so now we have a beautiful, wide open flower bed again. Before we put the Hortsmann in here, I am going to go ahead and dig up and remove the Diamond Mountain Euphorbia. Remember, this is another great annual from Proven Winners. It brings a lot of height and airiness and color to it, but we're going to get rid of this because it's an annual. So we've got the bed is all cleaned out, Vertigo grass is gone, the Diamond Mountain Euphorbia is gone, and we can really see the whole bed as to what we have to work with. Now, we're going to leave, obviously, our tea olive trees. These are fantastic shrubs that are have quickly become one of my all-time favorite shrubs here in the South. Tea olives, you know, sometimes I'll get all confused and I'll say like a sweet tea olive. Well, I do that because it's an osmanthus, and they're called sweet osmanthus because they have these absolutely beautiful, delicate little tiny blooms that smell positively amazing. So they are in bloom right now. That's why we love tea olives, is because beginning in the fall all the way through winter into early spring, they put on these little tiny delicate white with a little hint of orange blooms on them. They're very small, but the fragrance is massive. We'll be sitting on our porch anywhere in the yard and you'll just get this whiff of this. It's like an orange jasmine honeysuckle smell. Absolutely glorious. So they are here. Now, you will notice that they are getting some height to them and they're a little thinner up top. In the spring, I will prune them. Because the tea olives bloom on old growth, you do not want to prune them right now in the fall. If you do prune them in the fall, then you're going to cut off all your potential blooms that will happen later on in the winter and early spring. So the time to prune these is in the spring. When that happens, I will really kind of trim them down so they get nice and thick and bushy. But all of that you see right here, all of this is new growth from this year. This spring, I pruned them up. The actual where I pruned it is right here. So all of this is new growth this year. So those are in there. Those are going to be the structure. We'll have the Hortsmann right here in front of me at the very edge. If you will remember, that is that lemon coral sedum from Proven Winners. Again, we are North Carolina, a zone 7B. So the lemon coral for us is a perennial. I planted this 2 springs ago. So not this spring, the spring before. This will actually be its second winter in the ground. You will notice on the edge where the sun was getting it, it is this gorgeous, bright lime green. But then closer up to me where I am, that is where the Diamond Mountain was covering it and preventing the sun to get on it. So it's a little leggy, a little bit of more of a green color. I'm not worried about that. As soon as the sun hits it, in about a week or 2, that'll look like the rest of it. So what we're going to do, the plan for today is to get that Dwarf Hortsmann right about here in the center of the bed. Then we're going to plant some really fun, some perennials and some annuals in here to give this bed gorgeous color all fall, winter, into spring. So in the back, we're going to do some Artemisia. That is a perennial for us because it's a perennial in zones 5 to 9. Gorgeous, lacy, silver foliage to it. It is a foliage plant. There is no bloom for the Artemisia, but it'll get anywhere from like 2 to 3 feet tall with that great silver foliage. And then down here in the front, I'm going to plant 2 different shades of blue pansies. Just thought that would be really nice with the dark green tea olives, the blue cedar, the silver, and then the blue pansies. So we're going to get this Hortsmann in here, get it situated, and get it planted, and then we're going to tell you all about what we're doing. I do. It should. So whenever you're planting a tree or a shrub, you always want to make sure that your hole is a lot wider than the container that's going to go in, but not necessarily deeper. Now, of course, as you can see, and if you remember, we have gorgeous red clay here in North Carolina. This great, dark, rich soil that you see on top is just the years of mulch and compost that's been on here. But once Jerry digs really down in that hole, you can see all that red clay just coming up. Again, when you have red clay, you do not amend this hole with a ton of potting soil or compost, because the red clay retains water. So if we fill this hole up with a bunch of potting soil or compost, there's going to be a different absorption rate between that and the red clay. So we have really wet winters here in North Carolina, and what can happen is that hole fills up with water because the potting soil just holds on to that water and soaks it right up, but then the red clay takes a long time to leach it out. So then you basically, what's called the bathtub effect, you have this hole filled with water, and that's the best way to kill a shrub or a tree because it rots. You do not want your shrubs and trees sitting in water unless they are a bog plant. Now, you dig your hole twice as wide because it breaks up the soil. Obviously, red clay is very dense. It compacts really well. So we want to have those roots some room to grow. And Jerry's got that hole, he's digging it. This is a 15-gallon tree, so we've got to get it nice and wide and deep. You will see that I've got my Espoma Biotone fertilizer. We always use that when we're planting trees and shrubs and perennials because it is actually a fertilizer for the roots. It's not necessarily going to show us new growth for the foliage or the flowers. In this case, it's a tree, so the foliage, it is all for root growth, because if you have a really strong, healthy root system, then you're gonna have a really happy plant up top. So it has great mycorrhiza fungi in there, which technical, but it opens up the roots to allow oxygen and nutrients and water to get in there. Again, makes for very happy roots. So do we want to put it in there and see if it's right?
Right.
All right. Good? Okay, so he says it's good, so now what we're going to do is get it turned the right way, because, you know, you got to have her facing the right way and make sure she's straight and happy. So we can twist her, put the biotone in. On the bag, it tells you how much to put in. Again, this is a 15-gallon, so basically what I do is I just make sure that the hole is well covered. Is that good? A little bit more. It does have an odor. It's the smell of growth and happiness for your roots. I like that side facing out. Like just like that. Yeah. Just slide it over.
Gotcha.
Jerry and I are a team. We work really well together. We've been together for a very long time, so we know each other really well. Yep, that's like perfection.
Okay, so
I love it. And then of course you want to compact the soil around your roots so that she's nice and snug in there.
All the mulch is really paying off.
Yeah, so we've been putting mulch in this bed for several years now, and it's really paying off. Like when we were pulling out those plants, there were some massive earthworms in here. When we built our house 17 years ago, this was, gosh, awful dirt. I mean, terrible red pan, hard clay soil. So over time, adding that mulch in there as it decomposes and breaks down, it turns into great compost. So you will see this white line. This is, Jerry has irrigation running for me for my hanging baskets and any pots on the front. Years ago we had a container right here, so that's what this drip line was for. It's turned off for the winter, but of course come spring, summer we'll run it again. I'll go ahead and just bury this at the base of the Hortsmann so that when the water does come back on, it will get some water. Other than that, there is no irrigation on this bed. And everything does fine. When you plant it at the right time of year and you're using great quality plants, then it doesn't turn into too much of an issue. All right, so this is the gorgeous Artemisia, but look at that foliage on it. Is that not just the prettiest thing? I love this plant. It is fantastic. So I think I have like 7 of them. So I'm just gonna get them and we're gonna space them out kind of in that same arc that we had the Diamond Mountain in, and put the pansies in here, get everybody planted, and then we'll see how it looks in just a second. Okay, so we've talked about this before. We're big proponents of work smarter, not harder. Of course, here at Creekside Nursery, we also do landscaping. Like, we have a landscaping division of the nursery. And Jerry just got, it came yesterday. It is a power auger to use for the landscaping. So he was like, Jenny, you're struggling with a little hand trowel. Let's go get the auger and use that. So that is what we're gonna do. It will make very quick work of these holes. It's fantastic. All right, so I've got these two gorgeous, two different shades of blue pansies that I'm going to mix together, fill in all of those empty spaces around the Hortsmann and in front of the Artemisia. So we're just gonna get those placed and get them planted. Okay, so I've started placing the pansies. We're going to go ahead and get those placed and get them planted and then put some fresh mulch on the top. I do want to show you though the two colors that I'm doing. They're very similar, but there is a little bit of a difference. One is a true blue and one's called light blue. So they'll go really, really well with all that great silvery blue foliage. Remember, for us in North Carolina in the South, pansies are a great flowering annual that will carry us all the way from fall, winter, and into spring. Once the spring comes, probably about early mid-April, I will pull these out. Even though they're still gonna be really pretty, I'm gonna pull them out and put my annuals in, because pansies do not last for us in the summer. We just get way too hot and humid and they peter out. So that's when we put in our heat-loving plants like super petunias. So getting these placed, gonna get them planted, and some fresh mulch. We'll see you in a second. pansies are planted, all the plants are planted. Last final steps is we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of plant tone, sprinkle that in there so that everybody has a little bit of food to get them through this fall, give them a good jump start, and then Jerry's putting the mulch out. Alrighty friends, we are all done with this flower bed and I am so excited. I could not love it more. Just to recap, we have the Dwarf Hortsmann in here. It will be a permanent addition to this flower bed. It will grow to be about 6 to 10 feet tall, but it will keep kind of that airy Dr. Seuss look feel to it, so it will not block any of our line of sight. Behind it, I did the Artemisia, which will be a perennial for us because it's hardy in zones 5 to 9 and we are in zone 7, so there you go. It will get to be about 2 to 3 feet tall and gives just that bright gray, blue-gray color to this flower bed. And then of course, in front, intermingled, I put an assortment of blue pansies. Now, those pansies will get a lot wider and grow and just fill in this whole area. In the spring, they will probably have this whole flower bed absolutely covered in those gorgeous blue flowers. And then come April, it will be time to plant her for the new spring summer bed. But this is just a really fun area. Again, this is right off of our front porch, so you see it when you come down the driveway. You will see this bed. It just makes a great statement, and then that fresh layer of that great dyed brown mulch makes all of those colors just pop and come alive. Could not love it more. I hope you have been inspired, that you have learned something, and that you have found some value and this has been helpful for you. Please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to Gardening with Creekside, and if you don't have your notifications turned on, make sure you hit that little bell so that you get notifications every time that we send out a new video. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, friends.